Brooklyn, stand up, baby, because BK's very own Edgar Berlanga's suspension is over and the monster is back. He's fighting Ireland's Jason Quigley in a 12-round super middleweight bout as the main event at the theater at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. New York Post boxing reporter Jared Schwartz is back, not from suspension. He's back in studio. So let's talk about the kid from Brooklyn. You had a chance to sit down and you spoke with Berlanga, unbeaten super middleweight. The dude's got credentials, he's got clout, but when a casual fan hears his name, the first thing they're gonna be thinking about is him biting Angulo last year. So what did he say about not only how big this fight is for him as a boxer, but for his career, and nowadays in boxing, which it means a lot, his brand?
You know, it's interesting, Brandon. Like you said, he's got the credentials, he's got so much excitement in his career, but it seems like all we've seen recently is those distractions, is that suspension, is him maybe switching promoters and, you know, all these kind of things outside the ring. When I spoke to him this week, he didn't shy away from the fact that, you know, this is a critical juncture in his career. This is a now or never type of fight. It's his first fight since since his suspension for trying to bite Angulo. You know, that fight marked his fourth straight unanimous decision victory. And, you know, I think on the surface, when you see a unanimous decision victory, you say, you know, what's wrong with that? It's another win. You know, he improved to 20-0, but he knocked the first 16 guys out in the first round that he faced. You know, he was on his way to taking over boxing. He was the monster. He was the chosen one. You know, he had a great fan base. They loved putting him at Madison Square Garden. And those last four fights kind of, you know, maybe removed some of that shine on his stardom. And really, you know, coupled with staying outside of the ring for a year, you know, really took him out of that limelight that he craves. So, you know, this is kind of a now or never fight. He's 26 already. He moved to Matchroom Boxing. This will be his first fight with Matchroom Boxing. They have ambitious plans for him. You know, they want to create a fight with him, with the great Canelo Alvarez within the year. You know, and that means looking good on Saturday against Quigley. That means looking good again, you know, in another fight after that. And then, you know, then getting ready for that Alvarez fight. So, you know, if he doesn't look good here on Saturday, that plan is kind of out the door. So, you know, it's really now or never for Berlanga to kind of recapture some of that shine that he had early in his career, some of that electricity he had early in his career, and really take that next jump that kind of a lot of people have been waiting for him to take for, you know, a couple of years now.
So basically, the model for him he should take it from another Brooklyn artist. Allow me to reintroduce myself, you know, in that way, because he's reintroducing himself to the fans in the boxing world. I thought you'd laugh at that, but but this dude Quigley, man, he's not gonna back down. In fact, he's come out and he said that I am the man. I'm here to progress my career and my life. So talk about his skill sets and what a win for him would do for his career.
You know, I spoke with Hearn on Wednesday as well, and he had a really good point. He said, what I really like about this fight is, you know, there's so much hype around Berlanga, there's so much attention, there's so much anticipation around Berlanga. But if he is the hype job that he is, if he is just a product of, you know, matchmaking and just promotion and stuff like that, then he was going to struggle on Saturday against Quigley, because Quigley's a good opponent. You know, he's a capable of opponent. He's probably the best opponent Berlanga has faced so far. Every fight of his career, he's stepping up in competition. He's got knockout power. So, you know, if Berlanga is the hype job that people say he is, he'll struggle. But then Hearn said, if he is the real deal, if he is what Matchroom and we think he is, he'll knock out Quigley. Okay. So it's an interesting fight in that dynamic. Look, it's a career-defining fight for Quigley as well. He gets to come to New York. He gets to fight at Madison Square Garden in front of, you know, a big audience. This is the kind of fight that can draw attention on him. You know, all of a sudden he can rise in the rankings, but it's really, you know, all the eyes are on Berlanga. He's the heavy favorite. If he loses, something will be wrong for, you know, Matchroom Boxing and Berlanga's career.
I guess the last question, the standard question, how do you see this fight going? And you don't have to give predictions, but I'm talking skill set. How do they attack each other? What's the tempo going to be like?
The one thing that Berlanga really pointed out was he's back to his old trainer. You know, he switched trainers a couple times. He's back to his old trainer that he had in the beginning of his career that he said created the monster, created the Bugatti, he said, created the Lamborghini. And most importantly, what he said is that brings out his aggression. He says him and, you know, his new trainer match each other's mindset with their aggression and the violence that they want. So he's trying to come back as that monster, as the guy who knocked the first 16 guys out in the first round, the guy who, you know, unloaded combinations, you know, right from the get-go. So that's who he's going to look to be. Whether we see that, whether he's rusty coming off of, over a year layoff, that's to be seen. But Berlanga's going to be coming out flying. He's got something to prove to both himself and to others. He's going to be coming out flying.
And he pretty much gets to do it here in his home city. Where Brooklyn at? We got Berlanga Quigley. They're going to battle it out live on DAZN from the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City on Saturday. Jared Schwartz, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon. Always a pleasure.